Hello everyone. Previously, we had discussed about the service workers and the progressive web apps. We also saw the example of registering the service workers and also we saw caching in the service workers, right? So, now today we'll be discussing about the decorators in JavaScript. Basically, so if you are familiar with the Angular, you will be knowing the concept of decorators, right? Angular or the TypeScript. So, I haven't used the decorators in the React basically or the vanilla JavaScript till now. I didn't get a chance to implement that one. So, in the Angular, basically, if you are familiar with the Angular, so you will be knowing about the input decorator, output decorator, and view decorator as well. So, if you are someone who has worked with the Angular, you will be knowing the concept of decorators. So, in vanilla JavaScript, this is basically a part of future JavaScript proposal, but still the decorator can be implemented using the higher order functions in the vanilla JavaScript, right? So let's understand what are decorators first. So decorators are the functions that are applied to classes or their methods to modify the behavior. So again, I'm telling, basically decorators are simple functions. Now, why it is used? It is the functions that are applied to classes or their methods. Why? To modify the behavior, right? So that is the main advantage of the decorators. So as I've said, they are not, they are the part of the future JavaScript proposals. So still, the decorators can be implemented by making use of the higher order functions. So let's see the examples, right? So first example, we will be seeing the method decorator, and in the second example, we will be seeing the class decorator. So one more thing I have to say here, I am making use of the one compiler, so we don't have the Babel installed. So if I write some code and if I'm making use of the decorator, if I try to run the code will not get executed, right? We don't have the Babel pre-installed here. So I'll just write the code. If I try to run the code, I'll just get the error. I just give the output below the code itself. So if I even try to run the code, it will give error as said. The Babel is not pre-installed. Only certain versions of the Babel, previous versions of the Babel support decorators in JavaScript. Let's try to implement the decorators. This is nothing but the example for the method decorator, right? So I just consider here function log method. So I'll just make this M capital. Log method of, let me consider the parameter target property, and let me consider descriptor as well. Just give me a second. Yeah, descriptor. So I'll just consider the variable name original, and I'll just set this one to the value of the descriptor, nothing but descriptor dot value. So we don't have value here, right? So let me type this one completely. Next, let me set the value of the descriptor to function. Within this, I'll just consider the certain number of arguments, right? So let me log something here. Let me log something like calling. So let me make use of the template literals instead. So here I'll do one thing. I'll just make use of the property, right? After this, let's return only. Let's make use of the original. But let me make use of the apply. So apply consists of this and arguments, right? So I hope this is clear. So next step, what we will do, we will just consider the class. So I'll just name this one as example. This is just the example, right? So I'll just consider this one as example. Let's make use of the decorator, method decorator, right? So I'll just give here log method. So here let's call greet, and this is the method, right? So greet is the method. So basically over the greet, we are making use of the decorator at log method, this one, right? So let me log anything. I'll just log here hello within the strings. So this is fine. Finally, what I'll do, I'll just make use of the new keyword example dot greet. So here this one basically, right? So now what is the this one output that we need to get? First thing is we need to get this one. You can clearly see here calling we have given property. Property is nothing but here this one, right? Greet, we have made use of the greet here. So this one property will be greet. So we have to get the output this one calling greet. And second one will be we are just logging hello here, right? So the output, the second output has to be here hello. So this these two things are the output that we need to get basically. So if I try running the code, this will give error basically. So yeah, it says that invalid or unexpected token because we need to install the transpiler, something like Babel, right? So without the transpiler, this will not get executed. You cannot, we cannot make use of the decorators, right? So the output that we need to get is calling greet and hello. So you can just make use of the VS Code and you can just install the Babel and give something in the, set up something in the .babel rc file, I think, and then you can try running the same thing. You will get the output calling greet as well as hello. So this is it. This is the basic example. This is the basic example for the method decorator, right? So basically, we are done with the method decorator. Let's, in the example 2, we will be seeing about the class decorator. So I'll just come here. I'll just give the simple example. Let me consider function. Let me give add time stamp. So here, let me call the constructor, right? Let me pass the constructor here. So within this, let me give return, class, this one extends, let me consider constructor. So within this one, what shall I write? I have considered the timestamp, I think, right? Let me consider time. Did I miss something? No, right? Let me consider timestamp. Timestamp, let me set this one to date dot now. This is a function. So this is fine. Next, what we will do, we'll be making use of the decorator. And let me, this is the example of the class decorator, right? So it has to be at add timestamp. So let me give consider class example. We are making use of the decorator on the class. You can clearly see here at symbol as well, right? Along with add this one at timestamp. So class, let me consider example. This one, I'll just leave this one empty. Finally, let's try to log, let's try to log something. I'll just give new example dot timestamp. So here, as the example, as I have said earlier, this is a pure example for the class decorator. You can clearly see here. So I have just considered, I'll just explain here. Add timestamp is there, right? This one. So what this is doing here is it extends the class to add the timestamp property. See, you can see here clearly, right? This add timestamp, this extends the class to add the timestamp property. We have added the timestamp property here for date. We have assigned this one to the date, right? Now function. So this one add timestamp, this one. Basically, what is this? This applies the decorator to the class, this applies the decorator to the class, right? This one at add timestamp, this one. So I hope this is clear. So the output that we need to get is here current this one timestamp. So date along with the time we have to get. So I can just write here current time stamp. We will get the date along with the time, right? So that's what we will get here. So if I try running this code, as I have said earlier, this will give me error because the Babel is not installed. You can try installing this one in the US code, and you can try executing the same code. After installing the Babel, you need to set up certain things in .babel rc file. Then try running the same code. You will get the output this one, current date along with the time, right? So yeah, this is it for the decorators. Basically, we saw the example for the class decorator as well as the method decorators, right? So this is it for the decorators. Next, we will be discussing about the symbol and the unique object keys in the JavaScript. So that will be fun, the next topic. So for now, this is it. I hope this is clear. And again, I am telling the examples that I gave for the decorators. One is for the method decorator and the class decorator. This doesn't run unless you have the Babel installed, and only certain versions of the Babel support decorators. So you can install the Babel and you can set that one in the .babel rc file and then try running the code. Then you will get the same output as here. This one current timestamp you will get, and in the previous example also you will get the particular output that I had mentioned. If you have the Babel installed and if you have set up certain things in the .babel rc, right? So yeah, for now this is it. Thanks for watching, guys.